everyone, so this video is going to be another sketchbook video, but it's a bit different than the other sketchbook videos I've made, and this video will be about different ways you can challenge yourself in your sketchbook, because I recently have been inspired to do a sort of like a sketchbook challenge. It's not a super ambitious challenge, it's more of like me trying to keep up a routine in my sketchbook. So I have one of my favorite sketchbooks and I want to finish it in 4 weeks. So I divided up the pages into 4 weeks, accounted for the double-sided pages, divided by 7 in order to find out how many pages I need to make each day in order to meet my goal. There are 70 pages total, 140 if you count double-sided. So 140 divided by 4, that's 35 pages a week. There's 7 days in a week, so 35 divided by 7 is 5 pages a day. So I only need to do 5 pages a day in my sketchbook, and I plan to use color. I want to have quality sketches as well as messy stuff. I do want to focus on quality, but I also want to focus on practicing and quantity of practicing. I want to use as much white space as possible, but I'm not going to stress about that too much because I don't want it to be too cluttered. I don't know. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like yet. And like I said, this isn't too much of a challenge, but I just want to finish this sketchbook a bit faster than I did my last one because I was kind of slacked with my last sketchbook. Now I have some different ideas on how you can challenge yourself in your sketchbook. Maybe some things you haven't thought of before. Sketchbooks really inspire me and I do love to talk about them. So I hope you don't mind as another sketchbook video. But here are some things you can try in your own sketchbook. The first way you can challenge yourself is to use as little white space as possible, which basically means try to fill every single page with a drawing and try to use up as much of the page as you can. Because a problem that I definitely have in my sketchbook is I will flip the page too early, sort of like I'll draw a bunch of stuff on the page and I'll say that's good enough and I'll flip the page when I could really use the white space to color in stuff. I could do more little doodles, I could do more sketches. The more white space you use, the more you're drawing and the more use you're getting out of your sketchbook. So I definitely think that's a really good challenge to just not have any white space in your sketchbook. And these are all things that you can try separately or in combination with each other. They're just kind of ideas to push yourself or to inspire you to use your sketchbook differently. So before I move on with the rest of the video, I just want to say that this video is sponsored by Skillshare. And you've probably heard of Skillshare before, but if you haven't, it's an online learning community. There's thousands of classes in design, technology, business, photography, and more. There's a premium membership, and this gives you unlimited access to high-quality classes from experts working in their fields. These classes are video tutorials with different sections within them, and you can follow along and learn whatever skill you want. Recently, I've actually been wanting to improve my environmental illustrations. I've just been wanting to do more of them. So I found this class by Hardy Fowler. It's called Digital Landscapes Painting Environments with Photoshop. And there's just a lot of really useful tips if you're looking into painting environments. You might find that helpful too. And Skillshare is more affordable than most learning platforms out there. And an annual subscription is less than $10 a month. And if you're interested in trying it out, I have a 2-month free trial for 500 people, and there will be a link in my description, so it's only free for the first 500 people to use the link. So thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. It really helps my channel out a lot, and now back to the rest of the video. Another really good way to challenge yourself is by setting a time limit, which is kind of what I'm doing. I want to use this sketchbook up in a month, or pretty much 4 weeks. So you can give yourself a time limit of 2 months, of 3 months, or just say I have to do at least 1 page a day. These kind of challenges kind of hold you accountable to actually use your sketchbook, because the hard part is remembering to actually draw in it every day or remembering to draw in it often, because the more you neglect it, the more you'll forget about it, and then it's kind of like a snowball effect, because if you keep forgetting to use it, you're going to continue to forget to use it. So if you set a daily challenge, or I want to finish this in a month, then you'll just find yourself drawing more and improving more, and that is a good thing. Another neat exercise that I have been recently doing in my sketchbook is making a bunch of random shape blobs, almost like the scribble challenge, but you just fill a page with a bunch of blobs and random shapes, and then you turn the shapes into something else. I just think this is a good creativity exercise. It fills an entire page, so you're making use of the book. And it's even fun to get other people to draw the shapes for you, and then you turn them into something else, or to close your eyes while you scribble out the shapes. You can do blobs of color, turning it into something, or actual scribbles, and then turning the scribbles into a drawing. And something that this really helps me with is kind of like drawing things differently. So a lot of people draw faces kind of the same way every time, like because that's your style, and sometimes it can be hard to break out of your style. So by doing a random blob and then you see a face in that blob, the face will probably look different than your normal style, and you might even take some of the things that you just created, some of the faces or blobs or animals or whatever you turn them into. You might realize a new way of drawing something, and you might take some of those techniques into your own art, which could definitely be a useful thing for kind of expanding your style, possibly. Another challenge that I really want to do this for my next sketchbook is to find an interesting format. So this basically means find a sketchbook that's super long, or like a really small sketchbook or a huge sketchbook. Try working in something that you normally don't work with, or something that you think will be difficult. You could even find a regular sketchbook and just chop off a sliver and work with that, and I think that would be a really interesting to just make it super narrow, like an extreme landscape. I think that would be a fun way to challenge yourself. The format of it might make you want to draw in it more because it's like something new and fresh that you've never really tried drawing in before. So I think that would be something fun to try, and I definitely want to try that for any of my future sketchbooks. A format that I've always wanted to draw in is a square. So maybe for my next sketchbook I'll find a square sketchbook, but I gotta finish this one first. I'm committed to finishing this sketchbook. Another way you can challenge yourself, and this isn't really a conventional way to use a sketchbook, but doing full color illustrations on every single page. So you're kind of treating it more as a collection of artwork rather than a sketchbook. Maybe you can get a sketchbook with really nice paper and use that as your place to do full color illustrations and kind of keep them all together. It's just something to try, just an idea, because I never really do full color stuff in my sketchbook. Like I never do a whole page of just one drawing. So I do sometimes, but hardly ever, because I just prefer to just sketch and mess around. But that's probably something I should do a bit more often, just kind of have more of a balance of sketches to more finished stuff. But it really just depends on how you want to use it. And this is just an idea of how to challenge yourself, maybe do an entire book that way. It would take forever, but it's still something to try. Another way you can challenge yourself in your sketchbook is to dedicate your sketchbook to one thing. So you could have one that's specifically for improvement, or one that's specifically for studying color and working on color theory. You could have one that's purely for gesture drawings and working on anatomy. You can have one that's just for character design. I don't know if this really counts as a challenge. It's just kind of more of a way you can use your sketchbook rather than like a challenge. I think having sketchbooks dedicated to certain things could be motivating, because if you have a sketchbook purely for gesture drawings and anatomy, then you don't have to think about what goes in that sketchbook. You just pick it up, okay, gesture drawings, and you just start filling pages of anatomy studies and stuff like that. But also this could be limiting, because then if you have sketchbooks that are dedicated to certain types of drawings, then you won't ever want to use one for something that it's not meant to be used for, and you might be afraid to draw in some of them because it won't match the rest of the sketchbook. But I do think it's an interesting idea to just have one sketchbook dedicated to something, just as like a challenge, like a temporary thing maybe. So I hope this video gave you some ideas. I hope it inspired you to use your sketchbook more, because sometimes you just need a little bit of motivation or inspiration to start sketching. For me right now, I have a fresh new sketchbook, and that's my motivation. I just finished my old one. So I'm really excited to progress through this sketchbook and create better art than my old one, and to have something that I'm actually proud of, because my old one I wasn't that proud of. But if you saw that video, I posted it on Tuesday, so I'll link it above if you haven't seen it. And also this is one of my favorite kinds of sketchbooks to use, so I'm excited about that. And I just want to draw things. I'm just excited to draw a whole bunch of stuff. So I hope you're excited to draw stuff too. Hopefully because of this video, or for whatever reason, I hope you are inspired to draw. And I will see you in my next video.